City Council is set to decide the future of the James Whalen tug more than 2 years after it sank into the Cam River. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Nuclear waste storage in the region is also back on the City Council agenda this evening.
A deputation will be provided by the Nuclear Waste Management Organization asking Council to reconsider supporting a proximity principle. The principle calls for nuclear waste to be stored as close to its point of generation as possible. That comes after Ignace declared itself a willing host for the NWMO's deep underground repository. The Thunder Bay Chamber of Commerce has provided a written deputation supporting the project and its economic benefits. As for the James Whalen tug, which sank in 2022, the recommendation is to scrap a majority of it. But Transportation Museum Board Chair Wally Peterson hopes to save as much of the ship as possible.
Well, we'd actually like to save the whole ship, but where it is, it's not possible to move it in a financially responsible manner because you'd have to bring up the large barge again, which is $800,000. But you could always take, because it's a metal ship, it could be cut apart and it can be reassembled. So hopefully something along that lines is what's going to happen with it.
The staff recommendation does call for some historical pieces of the James Whalen tug to be preserved.
The owner of a dog involved in a vicious attack that sent a local child to hospital has been ticketed with a court hearing to follow. In early August, 6-year-old Willow Royer was mauled by a dog on Wiley Street. She and another child were coloring on the sidewalk when she asked a woman walking her dog if she could pet the animal. According to the child's father, she was taken to hospital with several lacerations to her face and head. He said the dog's owner turned herself in the next day. The city's Municipal Enforcement Services has now issued a ticket for failing to license the dog. That carries a $195 fine. A city spokesperson says a court application has also been made for an order requiring greater control of the animal or that it potentially be put down.
Some Thunder Bay parents were outraged to discover the brand new playground at Vickers Park was vandalized over the weekend. The new accessible playground cost the city about $1 million. It opened in early July for the Teddy Bears picnic and celebrated its grand opening just a few weeks ago. Sometime this weekend, Vickers Park users got an unwelcome surprise when the play structures were found covered in spray paint. City crews were dispatched to clean up the mess early this morning. Parks and Open Spaces manager Corey Halverson says even though the graffiti was removed rather quickly, it's still disappointing that the new play equipment was defaced.
As soon as we became aware, it was a high priority for us. Getting out to deal with graffiti as soon as possible can actually help with the cleanup process. So yeah, if looking around right now, they've done a really good job of removing the graffiti. Which is great, but it's still, disappointing to see that kind of thing occur.
Halverson notes the equipment at outdoor public spaces is designed for graffiti to be cleaned off more easily.
Northwest Region OPP have arrested a third person in connection to an August weapons incident in Sioux Lookout. 23-year-old Trayvon Atkinson of Brampton has been charged with 2 counts of attempted murder. Atkinson was arrested on Friday after officers were asked to remove an unwanted person from a residence. Police also confiscated a restricted firearm. It all stems from an August 16th weapons call in the Miller Crescent area of Sioux Lookout. No one was injured. 2 other people had already been arrested. Along with attempted murder, Atkinson also faces a number of weapons charges. He remains in custody and will be in court on Wednesday.
Premier Doug Ford was asked today about his timeline for an election here in Ontario, following developments on the federal level.
Those include the federal NDP ending the supply and confidence deal with the Trudeau Liberals. CTV's Siobhan Morris is following the story.
Ontario's NDP leader on the campaign trail in Belleville. Voting is underway in the Bay of Quinte, a by-election after the sudden resignation of Cabinet Minister Todd Smith. In a swing through the region, the Premier remains coy about whether signs like these may sprout across Ontario soon with a potential early election.
We haven't made that decision yet. I'll tell you, we aren't calling an election this year, and we're going to make sure that we continue with prosperity and creating jobs and opportunities for the people of Ontario.
Progressive Conservatives have reportedly been contemplating a trip to the polls next year to get ahead of the next federal election. There's worry about potential anti-conservative blowback should Pierre Poilievre take over as Prime Minister. The timing of that vote less predictable after the federal NDP leader ended a deal with the Liberals to keep the government afloat.
As far as I'm concerned, MP Singh he's just blowing smoke. There's nothing more important to these greedy politicians than collecting a pension.
Singh has denied securing a pension as part of his calculus on when to bring down the government.
But when I came over to ask,
Ontario's NDP leader calls Ford's words rich.
He's just trying to distract from the fact that, he has not prioritized people.
The Greens feel Doug Ford's priorities are misplaced, while Ontarians struggle with homelessness and a strained healthcare system.
What's the Premier talking about? A federal party leader's pension? Come on, Premier, wake up.
But with early election buzz,
Greens have no choice but to start getting ready for an election, which is why we opened nominations today.
the Liberals plan to have half their candidates in place after their annual meeting later this month. The opposition maintains Ontarians aren't in the mood for an early vote.
But if he wants to do that, if he wants to roll the dice, we're going to be ready. We just spent the last 10 weeks in kind of sprint mode, getting our organization ready.
The question of election timing and pensions, not a thing in Ontario. MPPs here don't qualify for them. Former Cabinet Minister Todd Smith signaled that was a factor in his exit from politics. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
City residents will continue to see a high number of ships in the local harbor over the next few weeks as the Port of Thunder Bay reaches its busiest part of the season. As of this morning, there were 14 vessels located around the port, including 8 anchored outside the breakwall. Port CEO Chris Heikkinen says the busy harbor is a healthy sign. He notes potash has been in greater demand this season, and many of the vessels are waiting to load up at Thunder Bay terminals. The grain harvest is also well underway in the prairies, meaning more ships will stop here to get grain products. Heikkinen says the 4-day rail stoppage in late August is no longer hampering the port's productivity.
The rail lines are flowing rather smoothly, given the fact that there was the labor disruption a few weeks ago, and then of course that the CN bridge in Fort Frances has been out, and I'm also aware that CN has indicated that they're going to be able to continue service on that line in just a matter of days.
There's also a strong lineup of ships scheduled to arrive at Kiefer Terminal this fall. Back-to-back vessels are already booked through the end of September, bringing a variety of products, including steel and project cargo.
September 9th is International Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Disorder Day, and local groups held a walk at Waverly Park this morning to mark the occasion.
Participants spread the message that everybody can play a part to support pregnant mothers and those living with FASD. Lee Noonan reports.
Dressed in red or sporting their red shoes, roughly 50 people gathered at Waverly Park to raise awareness of fetal alcohol spectrum disorder and to spread the word that people living with FASD can thrive.
Red shoes rock!
It's the 25th anniversary of International FASD Day, and it's been 13 years since red shoes became a symbol of the movement, starting right here in Thunder Bay with FASD educator RJ Formanek of Couchiching First Nation.
When I saw my first pair of red ones as a kid, I wanted them, and I never got them. As an adult, I finally found a pair, and this was right after my diagnosis at 47. So I'd lived an entire life without knowing what was really going on in my brain. And it was just something about the shoes that spoke to me. Red is the color of fire, it's the color of passion. There was a lot of stigma and disinformation about FASD, and I knew that that wasn't me. And I had to sort of find a way to express myself. So I started wearing my red shoes.
Formanek says it's incredible to see the Red Shoes Rock campaign spreading around the world. He was joined on stage by Irish FASD advocate Maggie May.
It's really inspiring because I grew up thinking I was the only one. And I grew up thinking that, oh, I'm the problem. And in fact, people are always like, oh, trying to fix me. I'm like, I'm not broken. I got to a point where I'm like, I'm not broken. I do not need to be fixed.
Gathering at 9 a.m. on the 9th day of the 9th month of the year is symbolic of the 9-month gestational period when expectant mothers are urged to stay away from all alcohol. Linda Banning, one of the event organizers, is an FASD prevention worker. She says having a healthy pregnancy is a team effort.
For people who are supporting her also, so her partner and family members, to do the best that they can in supporting her to avoid alcohol during pregnancy.
Another organizer, Judy Kay, provides support to people living with FASD and says everyone has a role to play in giving those individuals a better chance at success.
With the right support, some people with FASD can do very, very well. They just need to understanding and the right support at the right time.
For anyone wanting to understand more, Kay suggests going to canfasd.ca or speaking with any of the many service providers in the city who support people living with FASD. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
Well, in that same vein, runners and walkers also laced up their shoes and made their way to Boulevard Lake yesterday to run for a good cause.
The second annual Take It in Strides Run brought out hundreds of people to bring awareness to suicide prevention and support those battling mental illness. Jess Clement has the story.
Residents were up bright and early Sunday morning to take part in the second annual Take It in Strides Run.
Go!
The event is aimed to offer support to individuals struggling with mental health challenges, commemorate those who lost their lives to suicide, and bring awareness to suicide prevention. This year's event saw over 400 participants who were able to pick between a 3-kilometer walk, a 5-kilometer run, or a 10-kilometer run.
I'm participating with my coworkers, and we work for the city police, so we see every day people struggling with mental illness. So we want to participate, raise some money, knowing that it's going to be a positive impact to everyone in the community that needs mental health support.
It's always great to support local events and Connor Remus himself, but I think the biggest issue right now is the rise of mental health issues in not only our community but in the world itself. It's great to get out here and be able to support that. It's a great morning, and look at the turnout. It just goes to show all the local people that do want to help the cause.
Run co-founder Connor Remus says he's blown away by how much support the event has gained over the past 2 years. He says he helped start the run last year as a way to make an impact on a cause close to his heart.
The thing is about this event is it stemmed from tragedy. I lost someone very special to me because of suicide 2 years ago. His name was Joey. Went through mourning and different emotions, and then I kind of got angry when I found out that there wasn't anything really being done to facilitate or help finance programs and resources for people who are struggling. And I've been a big runner all my life. A lot of my family members are and friends are as well, and so I thought what better way to bring the community together than to have a run.
Last year's run raised over $52,000, and Remus hopes to raise the same amount this year, with the proceeds going towards the Canadian Mental Health Association and the Children's Centre Foundation.
The funds are here to support great causes, and that's all that matters. Having people come out, having people donate, but also share their stories of loved ones that have lost. Memorial Wall, that's the important part too.
Remus adds that he hopes he'll be able to grow the event in the future to make an even bigger impact on the community and the country.
I plan to hold this event in Thunder Bay year after year. If you've noticed, our email account is takeitinstrides.yqt, which is Thunder Bay. I would love to see this turn into YUL, YYZ, YTZ. Like, if this turns into something as big as like the Run for the Cure, where each major city can hold their own Take It in Strides run, that would be my ultimate dream.
If you would like to donate or learn more about the run, you can go online to takeitinstridesrun.com. Jessica Clement, TBT News.
2 residents from here in the Northwest have recently won some big lottery prizes. Jim Turner from Atikokan was the early bird prize winner in the Sick Kids Hospital car calendar lottery. He had the choice between a new RV or the cash equivalent of $225,000, and he chose the cash payout. Turner spent time at Sick Kids when he was a child, as did his youngest child, so he's always bought tickets for their lotteries. Meanwhile, Thunder Bay's Gregory Cheadle won $100,000 in the August 17th Encore draw. He got the last 6 numbers right to win the big prize. The ticket was purchased at the Circle K on North May Street.
Well, a lot of reasons for those two to smile.
Absolutely.
And, as we turn our attention to the weather now, Fiona, there's a reason for all of us to smile today. It was another nice day out there.
It was a beautiful day. We had kind of a cold end to the week last week, so this is a very nice turnaround. We had an overnight low of 8 Celsius, but we were back into the 20s today, 23, and a humidex of 25 under mainly sunny skies. Now the wind started out coming in from the southwest, very light, just 3 kilometers per hour this afternoon. They've kind of rotated around. Now they're coming from the southeast, a little bit more gusty, about 15 kilometers an hour. If we take a look at what's going on across the region, loads of sunshine throughout northwestern Ontario, especially to the west, where we've got nothing but sun at this hour, and temperatures just skyrocketed today. Now, we had early morning lows of about 6-7 Celsius, and 25, 24 doesn't look exceptionally high, but the humidex was in the 30s, ranging from 30 in Red Lake all the way to 33 in Fort Frances. So very warm, very non-fall-like. As you head further east, the temperatures dipped a little bit, but only a few degrees, still comfortably in the 20s for Upsala, Armstrong, Greenstone, Nipigon. It isn't until you hit the northeastern shores of Lake Superior we drop back into the teens. The big difference is the relative humidity was much lower. No humidex to speak of, so instead of feeling like 30, it felt like these actual temperatures, but still loads of sunshine, and that includes all the way down into Sault Ste. Marie. Here in the city of Thunder Bay tonight, we're going to stick with the double digits. We're going to hit a low of 10 under clear skies. Could see some fog patches developing in the overnight hours. But as we head into the rest of the week, as you can tell, summer's not over just yet. It's not only officially not over, because that isn't until September 22nd, but we are going to see those temperatures continue to stay back above seasonal levels all week long, although, just like this summer, we've got a chance of showers again in the afternoon for the next couple of days. So it's going to feel very familiar, but in a good way, I think, for a lot of folks who weren't quite ready for the single-digit highs we were seeing at times last week.
Yeah, when I woke up on Saturday, I believe it was, and the temperature was -1, that was a bit of a shock to the system.
That was a shock to the system.
Absolutely.
It took a little while to rebound, but we have, and we're going to hold on to it for a little while longer.
Yeah, I think we can hang on to this. A lot of people will be ready for that. Thanks a lot, Fiona. All right, well, disgraced fashion mogul Peter Nygard was convicted of 4 sexual assaults back in November, and today he was finally sentenced to 11 years behind bars. We'll have the full details on that and more when your Monday News Hour continues right after the break.
Peter Nygard is a sexual predator. And that is the story. That was the finding of the jury.